pray, bow down, prostrate. You are the only one worthy of praise. I stand before you with an attentive heart. Erase my sins from the present and past. To you I pray, bow down, prostrate. You are the only one worthy of praise. I stand before you with an attentive heart. Erase my sins from the present and past.
SubhanAllah, I really want to invest in this company, but they're selling alcohol. I don't know what to do. I mean, it's good business, man. SubhanAllah, I can really get some good money. Let me ask Sheikh Google, what does he think? Sheikh Google. Let's see here. Haram. 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 Halal. Nice. I'm just joking actually, subhanAllah, but how many times people do fatwa shopping, right? They have something that they want to do, they know that this is what they would like to do, and then they're just looking for a fatwa that would confirm their desires, it would confirm their needs. How many times people are with wrong intention approaching scholars, and when they hear the fatwa and the correct fatwa, they will reject it. They will go to another scholar and jump and jump and jump and jump around. How many times do people from our ummah use programs such as Google and just type in everything disregarding the concept of the details of the scenario of what you're supposed to, who you are, where you're coming from, your culture, background, the specific details that apply to your case, and they just go and basically make qiyas from a certain example and they apply it to themselves. SubhanAllah, this is a very, very dangerous thing. It is a sign of a weakness of iman. It is a sign of a lack of attachment to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and it is a sign of following desires. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullah.
Alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
One of the issues that our ummah is facing today, specifically the youth and the people are coming to the deen, and you have this convert zeal when you sometimes start practicing. You practice with a strong zeal, sometimes not having a good understanding, not having a good approach towards Islam, not having a balanced approach to Islam, is the issue of fatwa shopping, right? People are looking for different fatwas, different things, following different mashayikh, and they go
and giving judgments
according to this upon different people's hear and say and so on and so forth. This is an issue that definitely reflects upon the lack of iman and the lack of commitment to the true concept of Islam, which is a concept subhanAllah that is based on truth and sincerity when seeking something. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told us in the Quran, فَاسْأَلُوا أَهْلَ الذِّكْرِ إِن كُنتُمْ لَا تَعْلَمُونَ. This is an order from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that we should ask those who know if we do not know. It is part of the system that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is sent, because not everyone has knowledge the same. Not everyone can to perform open heart surgery, right? There's people who are specialized, as such. This is just rationally speaking, right? So there's people who are scholars, people who are learned, people who are qualified to give Islamic verdicts based on different issues that people are facing in their life. But it seems that the ummah today, based on different influences and different aspects, they try to look for the fatwa or for the verdict that befits them. That is what they've already predetermined in their mind that the fatwa should be. So they're just looking for basically a confirmation.
And looking for that scholar that will basically give it to them.
A confirmation.
And basically just to mention a few points. If you look in the time of coming down from the time of, because in the time of Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, everybody would go back and ask Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam.
Yes.
So there was no
difference.
Going to a different person. But the way the Sahaba learned from Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam in taking care of asking the correct question and how Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam would answer to them, and the importance, of being very careful what you answer. You understand? Being very careful in the way you give it over. Then you look at the time of the Sahaba, in their era, in the time of the Khulafa Rashidin, this was the time of Ijma', where they used to gather all. If anybody would come with a verdict, with a question which needed a verdict, Hazrat Umar and them were people that were in the company of Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Hazrat Abu Bakr were people in the company of Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Yet they took so much of precautions that they would gather all of the Sahaba and then sit them down, and then they would put forward the question and then listen to each and every person's verdict until they came to a conclusion. Hazrat Umar wouldn't say, no, I'm the Khalifa. Or Hazrat Abu Bakr wouldn't say, I'm the, you understand? Everybody's verdict counted. Yet in those Sahaba you would find, and that's why in the Kitabs of Sharia you find that you get Ijma' al-Sukuti, that some of them some of the Sahaba used to just make tawaqquf. They just used to keep quiet.
They keep quiet and you agree on
it. They would just agree. And even on that, ulama have ikhtilaf, do you accept it or not? But just saying the precautions they took in that time. And then we come down to the time of the Tabi'een. Similar, that was the same thing. Sa'id ibn al-Musayyab, who was from the Akabir of the Tabi'een, he used to always say that, Allahumma sallimni, that, oh Allah, please safeguard me from this year. Wa sallim minni. And whatever I say also, Ya Allah, please let it be safe and according to what is lawful. You understand? The scholars used to say, Kathratul fatawa, qillatul taqwa. That person that just gives verdicts upon verdicts, it's because you don't have fear. Qasim bin Muhammad, who was from one of the 7 great scholars of fiqh, he also mentioned, and he said that it is much more better to cut off my tongue than for me to speak of something which I do not have knowledge of. This is Imam Malik, who said that when someone comes to you, rahimahullah, he said, when someone comes to you and asks for a fatwa, he said, put Jannah and Jahannam in front of you and then give the verdict. And just to end this year, beautifully, Ibn Taymiyyah, rahimahullah, what he said, he used to be very hard on a person that gives fatwa, on the scholars of fatwa. He used to be staunch, stern. And many times he would refute the verdict that they give. So someone came to him and said, Subhanallah, do you have a hatred on the people that give fatwa? He said that does it not that a person that bakes bread, does it not take care of his baking, or a person that's cooking, does he just leave the pot there? So he said for fatwa, it's similarly, there always has to be someone to take care of the verdicts that are being given, because Abdullah ibn Mas'ud has mentioned that if fatwa just, a person just comes, every fatwa that is being asked, he gives answer, he just spontaneously gives an answer. That is a crazy person. And Hazrat Umar radiallahu ta'ala mentioned that, are you brave to give a fatwa? It means you are brave to enter into the fire also. Because Imam Abu Hanifa rahimahullah had mentioned that had it not been of the fear that the ilm would have been wasted, I would not have given the verdicts, had it not been of the fear. Why? Because you giving him the benefit and you are with the burden. You understand? So basically, for a person, this warning is for a person that has a little bit of knowledge. Don't ever take that step forward and say that I am ready, because people have heard that maybe you travel to a country or you studied there for a few and then you come back to your place, and because everybody is like, Sheikh, how are you, or how are you, and now you feel that, okay, people are seeing me on a certain form, so and then maybe, and sometimes when you come back home, people would be like, say, because they respect you, mashallah, you are studying in this place for a few years, and they respect you. So when you come back to your town, like, Sheikh, do you know, I have this problem, I have a question for you.
Don't worry, I'll answer it.
Don't worry, come, bring it. Yes. So now you want to show him, because now you've been in a place where you've been studying Arabic, and now a few books and that. So before he even finishes with the question, you're already like, okay, this is the answer. You understand? Ulama have made mention that first of all, a good ear in listening to what the person is saying. And then when he asks you the question, first reflect. Is it in the kitab? Is it in the sunnah? You understand? What link does it have? You understand? So these are the important rules, and this year, you basically, this is not even for us to jump in. We are just giving the small rules for a person that wants to go into this field here. There's different things that there's a whole level that you need. It's years of studying, years of reading books, understanding, understanding, sitting in the company of teachers, being under the company of a scholar that you can refer back to. It's not just just going and saying that okay, this is the fatwa. It's a game which ulama have taken. The Sahaba, like the one of the scholars said that he was in the company, if I'm not mistaken, Utbah bin Muslim. He said that I was with Abdullah ibn Umar for 34 months. And many times I noticed when he had been asked a question, he would say, La adri. He would say, I do not know. And it is mentioned that one of the scholars also mentioned that I met over 120 companions of Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. When I asked them a question or a verdict on a certain hadith, they would circle me all 120 until I come back to the first one. And every time I would ask him, he would say, go and ask the next one, he is much more better than me.
I had a similar experience when I was in Mecca, subhanAllah. We just entered the Haram. It was the first day. We saw some ulama giving some lectures and some students of knowledge. So we had a question. Okay, should we or can we, and we're traveling, we just arrived, can we break our fast? Right? And the guys were just circling us, go to him. And then we would go to another one, they say, no, go to the other one. And they didn't want to subhanAllah answer it. Because out there, their taqwa and fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that someone is better than them, they would kind of pass it around.
Allahumma ahillan alayna, Ramadan is here.
We're only a few sunsets away from the month of change, an opportunity that is given to us only once a year. Take a look at this. Take a look at your future. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. It's a very windy and dusty day here. We're about an hour out of Cairo in the middle of the desert. Al-Ikhlas, sincerity. Whether you are alone in the middle of the ocean, in a boat, or on a river, or in a busy city street, your only way to success in this life and the next is through sincerity. Methanol, which is the fuel that is used for rockets, that is placed inside cigarettes, that we're putting into our bodies when we're breaking our fast. Subhanallah. Together, let's plant the seeds of change.
Seeds of change.
ومن أقرب ما يستفيده الإنسان إذا علم أن ربه سبحانه وتعالى له العلم المطلق وأنه عالم الغيب والشهادة، هذا مباشرة يسكب في قلبه من التواضع الشيء العظيم. نعم، يتواضع. فالإنسان كلما زاد علمه كلما عرف جهله ونقصه وتقصيره في حق هذا العليم سبحانه وتعالى.
ورحم الله شيخ الإسلام ابن تيمية الذي كلما أثني على علمه قال ليس مني شيء ولا بي شيء ولا عندي شيء، إنما الفضل كله بيد الله تبارك وتعالى. وهكذا ينبغي على المؤمن دائما يردد أن ليس عنده شيء. كل ما قد يؤتاه الإنسان من علم أو فضل إنما هو من عند الله عز وجل الذي تفضل على من شاء من خلقه.
الإنسان ما الذي علمه؟ إنما علمه هذا الإنسان ما هو إلا كشيء يسير في الشاطئ أمام هذا البحر الخضم. إنما هو تصفح يسير في كتاب واحد أمام مكتبة تحوي مئات الألوف من الكتب.
فعلم الله عز وجل هو الذي قد شمل كل شيء، وليس هناك علم في الوجود إلا هو شيء من علم الله الذي أذن فيه لخلقه.
ولذلك إذا زاد الإنسان في علمه زادت معرفته بربه سبحانه وتعالى العليم عز وجل، فأورث ذلك خشية وتواضعا في قلبه.
ولهذا كان العارفون بالله والعلماء رحمهم الله تعالى يعرفون هذه الحقيقة الإيمانية الكبرى، ألا وهو تعلقهم بربهم سبحانه وتعالى وهو علام الغيوب، فتجدهم يحرصون كل الحرص على أن يتعلموا العلم مراقبين لربهم داعين أن يرزقهم الله سبحانه وتعالى العلم النافع الذي ينفعهم.
ولذلك حصر الله سبحانه وتعالى هذه الثمرة في أولئك العلماء الربانيين، فقال سبحانه وتعالى إنما يخشى الله من عباده العلماء.
But let's kind of flip it, flip the script a bit to the other side, to the people who are seeking the fatawas, who are shopping for these fatawas. And I have, there's a beautiful story that was mentioned by Sheikh Muhammad Sharif, and he was saying that there was a brother who came to him, and he had some questions, right? So he sat at the table and he started talking to him, and he said, I have two questions, right? And the first question, the sheikh, and he told him something, and they agreed, right? The second question, however, the person who was asking said, he got an answer, but it was not an answer that he liked or that he agreed with, right? And he said, what? I think there's another sheikh who has another opinion. And then the Sheikh Muhammad said, then why are you asking me that? If you know that there's a sheikh who has another opinion.
And most of the time...
But you know what's funny? That another friend came to the table and says, so did you get your two questions answered? So the guy said, one of them. Because the intention.
It's basically the intention.
Yeah.
And also, basically coming down to this, that it's a precaution. And sometimes today's time also you find individuals looking for ways out. Looking for ways out, and they search for the weak scholars, so that he could give him that verdict, so that he could go out of this way.
So it's already predetermined in his mind what he wants, but
he just
needs
for confirmation. The confirmation, just to satisfy that desire.
So the niyyah is a big thing, subhanallah, and seeking truth. I mean, this is something very important. And there's a beautiful, incident of Abdullah ibn Umar, may Allah be pleased with him, that some people came to him and asked him about Hajj, how to perform Hajj. And he said, the Prophet ﷺ used to perform Hajj this way. And the people said, again, kind of like on the same line of the story, he said, but, I think Abu Bakr and Umar perform Hajj this way, He says, I fear that Allah is going to throw stones on you. I'm telling you that the Prophet ﷺ used to perform this way, and you're telling me Abu Bakr and Umar. Now, we're, of course, we're not saying, but just to show that it doesn't matter who it is. It doesn't matter if it's Abu Bakr, if it's Umar, if it's whoever it is, right? If it's about Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, there's something very clear, and you should be sincere to accept the proof that is clear and sound, and that has no discussion or debate about it, right? I mean, this is a very important lesson, and shows again the sincerity and seeking truth. And when you're asking a question, you should not go with a predetermined answer already in your mind. You should. This is your responsibility. I mean, as a lame person, first and foremost, and the Ummah today at large, and we should. This is our basically our responsibility is to ask the people of knowledge, okay? But we should go for those who are, of course, authentic, first and foremost, and who are qualified, right? This is our responsibility, if, everyone to their capability. So the process is that we should ask these people of knowledge, if we don't know, of course, as Allah said. And based on that, subhanAllah, with the sincerity in our hearts, hey, the scholar might give us a wrong answer, right? But he, subhanAllah, as we know from the beautiful hadith, he will get one ajr from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If he gives the correct answer,
and that
he'll get two ajrs
from from the people that
of the correct, right?
And
the people are sincere, and the people
if he's a scholar that is authentic in it's not just any, this is not basically not just for any scholar.
I'm not going to go and ask fatwa from anyone or someone who's doubtful.
It has to be a scholar who is in the authentic form, and who has gone through and who has the ability,
the
qualification for that is you understand that. So those are important things. And also, basically, you'll find a person will ask you that how do you know who is an authentic scholar, because a person who's asking fatwa that you understand. Basically, we cannot. This is something which a person. This is the message that we can give. The person who is going to ask for the fatwa, he should in his heart always have the correct intentions firstly.
This is it.
And that's why they say, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَالَّذِينَ جَاهَدُوا فِينَا لَنَهْدِيَنَّهُمْ سُبُلَنَا. That those people that make an effort, you understand, in finding out that which is beneficial, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, we will guide them to, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَإِنَّ اللَّهَ لَمَعَ الْمُحْسِنِينَ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is with those people that do good deeds, muhsinin, that are all of right doing deeds. So it is important that your intention is correct. Wallahi, if you have the correct intention, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will lead you to the correct person.
Inshallah.
Number two, the scholar himself. The scholar who is being asked the question. We can only say this, that we have mentioned that they said that, and the predecessors and the Salaf have mentioned that وَخَيْرُ دِينُكُمْ الْوَرَعَ. That the best of deen is that person that has wara'a. What is wara'a? Muraqaba and meditation on haqq, on what is correct, on what is right. Having that fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And it is not a disgrace when you say la adri. Because there were ulama and there were predecessors that had the courage to, even on masail, on subjects that were ma'ruf, that were known, they would say la adri.
No, a very important thing, of course, for the youth and the people, lame person, they have, a very good question. I've been asked this many times, subhanAllah. People say, well, I mean, there's so much ikhtilaf even among the scholars, than the reliable scholars, right? So say, who should I follow? Who should I go and ask? What should I do? And what's the responsibility of the lame person? The person who might have some knowledge of Islam, but they have a question, they don't know, and they want to go. I mean, is it just enough to go on the computer, type something, and just generalize a fatwa, go to a certain website and just, see the fatwa of someone else and then take it for yourself and apply it upon yourself? I mean, without, ignoring all the details, ignoring the consequences, ignoring the, the things that are peculiar to your case, and, I mean, what's the correct way to go about this?
Basically, the correct way, like we said, is that a person who is searching for the truth, a person who is searching to understand something, to know what is right. Basically, when you see all these reliable scholars who have different arguments or had given different verdicts, basically sometimes they would give different verdicts because of different changes in different places. Like how one of the scholars would have mentioned, and it goes into, like, for example, if you're in a hot country, how to make a masai, and if you're in a cold country, what are the rules? There's different verdicts which they give, you understand? So basically, a person, when he's searching and when he sees all this here, he should feel, like we said, and he comes back again, that he should feel which scholar seems reliable, because all of them are reliable. And if you're not looking to differentiate and to bring ikhtilaf, you understand, then inshallah you will choose what is correct for you. Same like how when a doctor says to you that, you know what, you have this certain disease and that, you don't run to all other hospitals and that, you accept what the doctor what the doctor said, and you take and you try and work on curing that disease.
And these are your limits, and you go based according to your limits, and subhanAllah and inshallah, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will not hold you accountable for following the system that He has decreed for us, to ask the people of knowledge, to go to them, to be sincere, of course. And of course, if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will guide inshallah to the truth. But if there's any problem, any mistake, this is not that a person will be responsible for this. If he did all the things that were in his power to find the truth, and it had in his heart, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will
so
definitely. So
basically, you just conclude with, it is very important that the person who's going to ask for a verdict, that he has the sincere intention. The scholar which is giving the answer of the verdict, that he has fear, and if he knows the answer, if he doesn't know, there's nothing wrong in saying to him, come back later, I would find out, going to find out from a scholar above him or something like that, And also, the most important is that this is not for the layman, because you find it's a sickness in today's time also. You find a person who's just read one book or studied for 1 year, or few hours or few minutes, and he just feels that he can just open up the Quran and just give verdict and just read an ayat and say this falls under this ayat and this, I feel this here, and start going against scholars and start speaking against scholars. Subhanallah, this type of braveness is really very dangerous.
And of course, the spread problem of Sheikh Google, Mufti Google, just going and taking things just from there. I don't think this is part of Islam, that people should just, of course, there's many beneficial things on the internet, and there are reliable, scholars, but people should follow these steps that we talked about, and should make sure that, the sincerity is there, that, they don't fatwa shop, as we talked about.
Inshallah.
Oh Lord, to you I pray, bow down, prostrate. You are the only one worthy of praise. I stand before you with an attentive heart. Erase my sins from the present and past. To you I pray, bow down, prostrate. You are the only one worthy of praise. I stand before you with an attentive heart. Erase my sins from the present and past. Oh, you I pray. You are the only one worthy of praise. Oh my Lord, I surrender to you. I entrust all of my affairs to you. I depend on you for your blessings too, both with hope and fear of you. There is no fleeing